And now I'm going to introduce Igor Barinov. Igor Barinov is an award-winning blockchain expert known for pioneering developments in blockchain-enabled notary, and he's currently working on a project managed by POA Network, a foundation that launched the POA Network, which is an open, permissioned, and public blockchain network based on Ethereum protocol with proof of authority consensus reached by independent pre-selected validators. Igor devotes all of his time to innovating around blockchain scalability and making open networks more affordable for businesses. Igor.
So, can we switch it? Can we switch it? Okay, guys. So my presentation will be with live demo. So it takes some extra time to put it here. So we're going to talk about one of the existing problems in Ethereum ecosystem and blockchains in common. So from my perspective, there are like three main problems: security, which is very important for digital assets; scalability, how to make blockchains more affordable, and how to bring more use cases; and interoperability. So interoperability is something that discussed a lot, and there are lots of ideas about interoperability between public networks. But what we have now in 2018, 8 years after Bitcoin started, we have only very few ways how we can transfer tokens from network to network. And it doesn't mean that they're not efficient. For example, centralized exchanges can be very efficient, right? They can be very fast. They can make off-chain transactions, and they can facilitate, lots of processes in crypto system not related into exchanging of tokens, right? Let's say without exchanges, we'll not have crowd sales, right? Because how people who raise capital will trade their tokens. But not all use cases can be covered by centralized exchanges, and also for development of new crypto technologies, sometimes it's hard to operate. Let's think about sidechains. Or new blockchains. If you have a new blockchain and you want to get it listed on a centralized exchange, usually it's relatively hard and expensive. And it's much more expensive and hard than list ERC20 tokens. So when you develop a new project, you think, okay, so I have some things to do. And one of the things that all investors asking from projects is how to make this token listed on exchanges, right? And when you decide, should I run my blockchain or ERC20 token first, and after convert it to a blockchain, well, many projects select ERC20 first. So it takes time from R&D cycle, and also it's complicated operations of these networks, right? And it slows down industry. It slows down how we innovate in this space. We started POA Network, which is a sidechain to Ethereum, on December 15, 2017, right? It's almost 6 months ago. Oh, now we have slides. Okay. Yeah, we started a sidechain, and the idea of sidechain is how to make Ethereum ecosystem more affordable and faster for DApps developing on the platform. When I started to develop Ethereum myself, Ethereum was cheap and fast, and something changed in 2017. And there is no easy way to scale Ethereum, right? We think that sidechain is a natural way, and we built a POA network with faster block time and better horizontal scalability. But when we started to think about how can we how can we connect tokens built on Ethereum network to POA network? We understood that there is no easy way. Like if I have my D app deployed on Ethereum already or on testnet, the only way is to redeploy it on on POA network or other sidechains. And there are some scalability solutions. You can think about forks and sidechains to Ethereum, like Expanse, Ubig, Classic, POA, and many more. But they're not widely used. And one question why they're not widely used is because there is no easy way for developers to move their tokens from Ethereum. This thing. Yeah, so there are a couple of options how we can achieve interoperability between, let's say, POA network and Ethereum network. And one way, which is developed by some novel projects, is to have a relay chain between networks. Or second viable option is to have a bridge between two Ethereum networks. And we decided to build a two-way packed bridge between POA and Ethereum. So it means that we have two on-chain public blockchains, right? So on-chain transactions on two public networks. And we have off-chain layer between two deterministic blockchains, which is POA bridge. And interoperability should solve some problems, right? So for us, one of the big problems as a sidechain, how to get access to liquidity, right? When we started to build this bridge, we had a connection to two centralized exchanges on POA side, and after we deployed this bridge, we can transfer native tokens of POA network into ERC20 representation of this token on Ethereum network, and get listed this ERC20 representation on centralized and decentralized exchanges, right? And it's much more easier to list ERC20 token than any sidechain, right? So we have faster and bigger access to liquidity providers, and also access to liquidity providers we cannot get on POA network, right? For example, decentralized or hybrid exchanges are not available on sidechains, right? But they're available on Ethereum. If you want to list your token on decentralized exchange on Ethereum network, the only way is to have this token on Ethereum network. So bridge can facilitate this type of transaction. POA bridge. Oh, it's connected here. Wow. Nice. Finally, so POA bridge is a software. It's actually like 5 different products combined into one product. So it's a way of transferring, for now, POA native token. POA native token, think about this like Ethereum native token on Ethereum blockchain, into ERC20 representation of this token on Ethereum blockchain, right? So one token is located on POA network, another on Ethereum. But supply of those tokens are the same, right? So this is a bridge, so it's two-way duplex. You can move tokens back and forth, and it's trustless. It means that when I send transaction from one chain to another chain, I don't need to trust any party, and no single party can decide to not relay my transaction. So when we set up this bridge on May 10th, 2018, we decided to use a subset of validators of POA network. So those are 3 validators of POA network, and there is threshold signature. So 2 out of 3 validators should sign a transaction to transfer tokens from network to network. This bridge is operational for a month already, and it works in production mode. So it transferred about let's go to real stats. We'll make some live demo of this bridge today. I just want to see how many, this information is on-chain. So this bridge has transferred 19.7 millions of POA tokens network to network. And when this bridge is working, when I send POA tokens to a smart contract on POA network, tokens are locked, and bridge mint corresponding tokens on Ethereum network. And if I switch side and I send ERC20 representation from Ethereum net to POA side, I burn these tokens, and smart contracts unlock tokens on another side. And there is a group of validators who facilitate these transactions. The bridge is, at the moment, is free to use. So if you have those tokens, you can transfer them from network to network. It's relatively easy, it's also it's a missing part of DApp experience that we have now. Usually DApp is are not very easy to use, right? So we decided to make this DApp as simple as possible, like one button DApp. So let's switch to POA network, and when we switch from network to network, we can see that we have one input box where we can specify numbers of tokens we'd like to send from network to network, and when we press transfer, come on. Yeah, it's connected to testnet, sorry guys. Once again, so I connected to POA network now. When I'd like to transfer tokens from network to network, I press one button, transfer, and I can see how much tokens I will lock on one side and how many tokens I will get on another side, right? So after that, I have to sign one transactions, and now my coins on POA side are locked, and the DApp and corresponding validators are waiting for 8 blocks to get the finality of POA network. And after they will mint ERC20 representation of this token on Ethereum side. So after that, I can transfer those POA 20 tokens, new minted tokens, onto, let's say, exchanges, or use it on Ethereum network. And if you think about this, liquidity of POA token after my coins are locked decreased, right? So these coins are locked, so the total supply decreased by 8,000 POA tokens, but those 8,000 POA 20 tokens unlocked on Ethereum network. So it means that the supply of the coin is distributed across network. Usually we think, okay, we have Ethereum and we have ETH on Ethereum. We have Bitcoin on Bitcoin, right? Now we have POA, which is distributed across 2 networks. If we build a bridge to NEO, for example, we can have POA on NEO, and we can have one ledger distributed across multiple ledgers. And I think it's much better for survivability, and also it's very good for some maintenance operations like hard forks. So that's important. Okay, now, as you can see, my transaction is minted. And on either scan, we can see that smart contract issued 8,000 ERC20 tokens. We can take token contract, we can switch network to core. Should be able to see that I have 8,000 POA 20 tokens, right? So this is a first, if you think about this, this is the first example of two-way pegged blockchains. So the idea of two-way pegged blockchains exists from like 2012, right? And I can send these coins back. And when I think about this, for me, it's like Internet of blockchains, right? I can take my tokens, send them from one location to another without asking anyone, right? I don't need to make KYC, AML, and all other stuff because of nature of this transaction. It's self-transfer. So I don't use any third-party service to transfer my tokens from network to network, and no one can stop me doing this, right? Service can stop itself, but it's relatively easy to launch, another bridge. And we think that people can, launch their own bridges for their own use cases, and that's what we expect from this type of technology. Look at this, right? I just selected 8,000 tokens. Now those tokens are burned, and I send 8,000 tokens from network to network without, any third party, which take fees and can say like, oh, those tokens are not your tokens anymore, and so forth, right? The next step for POA bridge is to make ERC20 to ERC20 bridge, and when I'm saying POA bridge existing version, it means that this version in production, right? It holds millions of tokens. It's operational 24/7. It's under monitoring, deployed, and someone taking responsibility for this. So this is a production version available 24/7, and anyone can use it if you have POA or Ethereum tokens. But next version we are working on is ERC20 to ERC20. And how I see this is that a project which did crowd sale on Ethereum network can say, okay, we have our own bridge right now, right? And using this bridge, we can transfer our ERC20 tokens from Ethereum network to a sidechain. Can be POA, because POA is 100 times less expensive and 3 times faster. Can be something else. Can be Neo, can be Qtum, can be Classic, other scalability solution immediately available now. We have lots of scalability solutions, lots of them. If you think about, if you look into block, filling of blocks of, all these new blockchains, they're empty. No one using them, right? And there are 2 main problems here. So one is interoperability, how to move tokens from Ethereum to sidechains, to scalability solutions. And second problem, how to have the same developer experience, how to have the same or better developer experience for developers. So this is a final part of our presentation. I'm sending tokens back from Ethereum to POA, once again in a decentralized and trustless way. The code for POA bridge is available under GPL3 license. There is a binary version, smart contracts, audited by 5 independent providers. There is a legal review that this bridge is not a money service business because it's self-transfer tokens between accounts and not send tokens from account to account. There is a deployment playbook, how to deploy bridge nodes, smart contracts, and so forth without, without doing it yourself. You just use prepared playbook to deploy this bridge. You just need to run a host, and basically that's it. Also, there is a monitoring tool, so you can get stats of the bridge. You can see balances on. This is a third-party Oracle, and it checks balances of bridge on 2 sides, and you can get some basic stats here, and you can see is there difference in balances. It's good to have this on monitoring to see degradation of service if it happens, or possible hack. Also, the system has lots of security measures to prevent possible hacks. So validators can be hacked. Anything can be hacked in this world, right? And if validators are hacked, then smart contracts have limits, and there's a limited amount of tokens smart contracts can mint in a given day. And these limits can be operated by a separate entity, not by validators. Let's go back. Okay, so we moved tokens from network to network, and you can see here that there's another transaction which moved 8,000 of POA tokens. And this is a different blockchain explorer because this is a different network, right? Okay, guys, this is an exciting moment of Internet of Blockchains, and it's available now. When someone saying to you, "Oh, it's far away," you can remember this and go on GitHub and take it and use it for your projects. Thank you.